right, we're just waiting for the room to fill up.
Good evening from around the world and around Ontario and around Canada. Thanks for tuning in tonight. The title of this broadcast for many of you logging in tonight may be called a preemptive SOS. As you may have seen on some other social media influencers out there, there have been a lot of rumors going around about very increased police presence around the National Capital Region commencing this week. Although we have confirmation they're not here yet, to our knowledge, we believe, given the number of different sources that have been telling us, that there will be a very heightened or increased police presence in Ottawa. We believe it's a credible enough issue that we wanted to do this broadcast. And while it is not time for alarm, it is time to, if you want to support us, if you really want to help out, what I'd like you to do is start thinking about coming to Ottawa. I don't want you to get in your car tonight. I don't want you to start packing tonight. But I want you to start preparing your families or talking to your employers and saying, listen, I really feel that my place is in Ottawa this week. I can't give you a timeline, and I can't promise you that once you get here, it will have been absolutely necessary. But we have concerns. We have concerns that a large number of police will be here, and they are setting up a processing center out in Lansdowne, and we want to make sure that we're prepared. If this does happen, we will be absolutely peaceful. This will not be confrontational. We are cautiously optimistic that it is not going to happen, but if it does, we are prepared, we are confident, and I don't make that as a threat of any kind. I just say that we're really not fazed by it. If you look at what happened in Calgary today, what I would call an absolute disgraceful action by the Calgary police today, okay, which is something that's typical that we have seen throughout this pandemic from that particular police department. But here in Ottawa, we have our own set of problems. We've been told that one of the triggers or indicators where we know that they are going to physically move against us and start arresting us is when our media goes down. When all of our telecommunications devices do go down and we go fully black, the next phase of this will be the public order units will move in on us and start kettling. Okay? If you think back to 2010 in the city of Toronto during the G8, G20 summit, and you think back to the fiasco that transpired at that event, we really don't want to see that happen again. Okay, but from our perspective, we do believe there is a real possibility that arrangements are being made to that effect. Okay? We will not resist. We will not be violent. Okay, this is a peaceful protest. But the more of us there are, the better it is for all of us. Okay? So if this is, you know, what's that thing? What is that one point in history that's going to make you move off of your couch and come here and get involved? This is it. If there's a media blackout of everybody that you're connected to with this freedom convoy, that's your trigger that you know something is up, and I would encourage you to make arrangements and immediately start heading to Ottawa. We have strength in numbers. We have a team of lawyers that are here to help. We're not fazed by this. We're not intimidated. We're just forward-thinking people because we believe we're gonna be here for a long time. Now, some of you may be aware that there was an emergency meeting in the House of Commons this evening. Justin Trudeau himself alluded to discussions about large number of RCMP officers that they're engaging. We do not get the impression that they are working towards sitting down at a table, which is what we asked for today. We asked to sit at a table and find a peaceful solution to this, a responsible, balanced, safe solution to this. And so far, I'm really disappointed to hear there's been no response from the City of Ottawa other than a cowardly tweet from the mayor passing the buck to the Prime Minister. Political theater. I'm here with all these people behind me and all of you viewing from home, expecting leadership from the people that we sent to this city. When in Canada's history has it ever been good for us as a nation when we have used force against a large population of our public? When? Never. Never. Instead of talking, we have a room booked, 12 o'clock tomorrow. I'll meet with Justin Trudeau and myself, 12 o'clock tomorrow. And the other delegates of this convoy. I'll meet with them. I'm prepared. We are prepared. All of us. Our scientists are prepared. They're dying to get in a room and talk to him. And when I looked at his comments tonight, the Prime Minister of Canada's comments, and forgive my frustration, but he seems to be a one-trick pony. You know, we want actual, tangible result. But to sit here and to insult Canadians consistently every day, he used the word swastika against his own Canadian citizens. And his constant message is the only way out of this is through a vaccine that nobody wants. Nobody wants this vaccine because they want to be protected from a virus. They're getting inoculated against unemployment. We're here to talk. Let's find a peaceful resolution to this. I want to go home. I want to go home. But I'm not. I'm not going until I'm no longer needed here. And based on all the support that we have from the people of Canada, I have an incredible amount of support and a lot of people that seem to want me here. And I'm not going home until the job is done. Okay? I am not calling for violence. I'm not expecting you to get into your vehicle, drive here, and create problems, create crimes. Okay, that's not what we're saying. Strength in numbers. We got sent here to send a message. The message isn't getting through. He's not getting it. And I apologize if I'm bashing the guy, but honestly, from my assessment, he's got a 22 caliber mind in a 357 world. Okay? Let's get at a table, for God's sakes. Enough hiding. I'm willing to sit at a table with the Conservatives and the NDP and the Bloc as a coalition. I'll sit with the Governor General. You put us at the table with somebody that actually cares about Canada. You know, and a note on that, there's no more Mr. O'Toole. Okay? And he talked about an election today that Canada voted for vaccines. I'm sorry, there was no vaccine on any ballot that I saw. Okay, nobody in this movement voted for vaccines to be forcibly coerced into their bodies. That's insanity. Okay? So I'll talk to any level of government that can actually get a decision done. Okay? Because I can see clearly, we can see clearly, the Liberals don't want to talk to us. We want to talk to them. We will talk to them. They are the official government of Canada. But can you just come and meet us at a table? Please. Okay. With that, Bridget has a few things that she'd like to talk about.
We have a doctor for truck drivers and those that may not be able to get medical help. He is the Providence Healthcare. He is a GP that has lost his position due to COVID mandates. And his name is Jeremiah Hadwin. You can reach him at 1-888-815-1930 or www.providencehealthcenter.com. So for anybody that's looking for a doctor who is also like-minded. We're good?
Yep. Does anybody have any questions?
I have two for you.
Okay.
Right now. First one, so what does it tell you when you request a negotiation and the response essentially that comes is rumors of increased police capacity?
Well, that's a great question because if anybody tuned into the live feed that we had done this morning, we recognize the position that the Chief of Police for Ottawa is in. He has been put in an impossible situation. He cannot deliver, and I've said that this morning. He cannot deliver on what we want. He is being somehow used as a doorstop and not actually helping things progress in the right direction. This action is absolutely irresponsible on the part of the government. But to be clear, the police cannot solve this problem. They can solve this problem with force, right? They can solve this with force. But do they really want to go down in history as a police force that is going to have to now apologize to yet another group 10 years from now? Do they want that as their legacy in the nation's capital? So it's frustrating. It's very frustrating.
The second question is, what would you say to the RCMP and other police officers that we know are watching this?
Yes.
What would you say to those particular officers? So there are guys that
Yeah.
your children play hockey together. What would you say to those officers?
What I would say to those officers is, you took an oath, and you've heard that. You've heard that repeatedly for the last 2 years. You've taken an oath. And I think the public in their discontent for the actions of police officers across the world, have used that line enough, but maybe some police just need to keep hearing it again. I would say to the police officers, and I made this officer to an outstanding Ottawa police officer today, I would say, if you're not sure, if you're on the fence, if you don't know what side of history you're on here, I have a team of world-class scientists in this room, and I made the offer. They will sit down quietly, privately, and talk to you. You're getting an opportunity to have an audience with the premier scientist on these vaccine mandates. I'll put any police officer in a room who's just not sure with one of these world-class scientists and let them talk about these issues. Because at the very minimum, I'm pretty sure that informed consent, if you coerce somebody, it's still assault. Okay, and this is what these issues are. So we'd like the police officers who we keep hearing about individual discretion on the street, we'd like to see them start exercising some discretion that doesn't support their mortgage. We want them to support the people they serve. That's what we would like. That's what I would like to say as a police officer. And we have a lot of them within our members. We have a lot of police support. Even active, we have a lot of police support out there that just can't say anything. And I can tell you when we went to Coventry last night, there was no eye contact with the police officers there. They were embarrassed by what they were doing. They were embarrassed. I know people, and what I saw was embarrassment.
There's those asking on the live stream if you guys would give your names and just your involvement with the Freedom Convoy with anyone who's comfortable.
Bridget Belton, helped create this, I guess.
Chris Barber?
I guess one of the organizers, yeah.
Go, sorry.
Tamara Leach, one of the organizers.
I guess I'm Sean Tyson from BC. I'm the BC Road Captain, one of the organizers as well.
Dr. Roger Hodkinson, I'm a pathologist from Edmonton, Alberta.
Jeffrey Bovin, running the command center for communications to assist the needs of the truckers and the people who are involved in the convoy out on the streets.
Tom Quick, intelligence for paramedics and police, and we're also doing protective intelligence for the citizens of Ottawa around us.
Dana Metcalf, nationally recognized humanitarian. I'm here for moral support for the men and women that are fighting for our freedoms.
Dr. Paul Alexander, evidence-based medicine specialist.
Miranda Gager, road captain from Lloydminster.
Brian.
Dale Lance, road captain from Manitoba.
Brian Hillowitz from Prince Albert, road captain for Saskatchewan.
Joe Jansen, Manitoba road captain.
The issue that we're getting calls from police officers apologizing for what's happened last night.
Yeah, without giving away too many details, we have worked extremely hard, myself included, with a couple of honestly, like my relationships, my personal relationships that I've developed through my short time here with the Ottawa police officers has been extraordinary, and I know we have consistently encouraged all of the truckers and the road captains and everybody on the team to build a solid relationship with the Ottawa Police, the OPP, and the RCMP. We're keeping it professional, obviously. We're not compromising their integrity by feeding them and stuff like that. But we have a really solid relationship with the police when, when it's appropriate for everybody. Now, we did get some calls yesterday. Some of the police officers we've been dealing with were pulled out of the city yesterday for a reason we weren't made privy to. But they called to say, look, we didn't know about the raid last night. Okay, and from what I had listened to, I believe the one particular officer, he was sincere in what he was saying, and it was echoed by another officer to me personally. They were pulled out. They just said, don't ask why, kind of shake their head. Everyone at the ground level wants to go home. We just want to go home, and we want to be safe. We want to be responsible. Okay? And that's really what it is. It's about building the relationships. This is community policing. It's just on a gigantic scale. So, it's kind of like saying goodbye to some of your friends, I suppose, in a way.
Just one thing as a synopsis, could you one of you give us just a statement of what the Freedom Convoy stands for, unified together?
Unity. Canadian unity.
Hope.
Freedom. Yeah.
Freedom.
Yeah. I think hope is a good one. There is a lot of hope. Walking down the street with him today was like, I felt more like a bodyguard with a VVIP, right? Everybody was coming up to him on the street. Locals. By the way, it's true, we do have over 100 affidavits from the residents of Ottawa supporting the truckers, telling stories about how they've never seen the streets so clean, how the shovels, we bought 100 shovels. We bought salt. Okay, we're shoveling sidewalks. Okay, crime is down 90% in the city, according to one of the newspapers in Toronto. So, yeah, it's noisy at times, but I don't know. What do you guys think? I'll ask you guys and ask the viewers. Do you want to hear horns, or do you want to hear "Oh Canada" every hour on the hour? What would you guys prefer? Do you want to hear a resounding chorus of "Oh Canada" come from your nation's capital, or horns?
I like the horns.
You like the horns?
I love the horns.
The horns. But oh, Canada for sure.
Any more questions from the floor? Or Doctor, I know you wanted to say something?
Oh, well, I mean, if you, look,
I just wanted to say something that's very important that the Canadian people understand, which is that when you see Hodkinson or myself here, we don't represent just a small portion of doctors and scientists in Canada. I have literally thousands of emails and telephone calls from doctors across Canada and across the world, United States, particularly Ontario and the rest of Canada, telling me, look, you guys, you Hodkinson, you Pones, you Alexander, you have been the brave ones and the courageous ones. But we stand behind you. We are fearful. We're going to be targeted by the government, by our colleges. We're going to lose our appointments and our income. So please, please don't keep quiet. You wage the battle. You stand behind the trucker. You give them the science that they need, because we know 100% of the science is behind the trucker. So you be our force and our tip today for us. And I wanted to share that.
One of the viewers is asking about safety. People are concerned about safety. Can you speak about that?
We've seen nothing but safety since we started this.
I think the best thing is watching everybody hug each other, which I know in Calgary is not a good thing to do, but we're hugging each other. We're not wearing masks. We're smiling. This is the best thing I've seen in the last 2 years in Canada. I have never felt so much love.
I had a couple Ottawa City. I had a couple Ottawa City residents come up to me today, and they said they had to come out and see for themselves how bad it was, judging by what they've seen on the news, on the local news and the what do they call it, the legacy news media. They come out here to see people hugging and handshakes, and they were totally amazed, absolutely amazed. They said this is it's totally different than what they were portrayed, what we've been portrayed as.
A little 70-year-old woman actually stopped me just this evening out on the street, and she was quite concerned because she walks these streets all the time for her exercise, and she was quite concerned because she noticed a few of our trucks might be missing out of some of the roads, and she was quite concerned because she said Ottawa citizens everywhere want us here, and they didn't want to see us leaving, and she was concerned that we were leaving.
Is it concerning that city councilors would use the word insurrection?
Yeah. Tom's hot buttons.
Tune in tomorrow? No, yeah, if, okay, maybe that's a hot button issue for me, but I gotta say, I've played that recording to several people, and the hysterics coming out of, like, the comments were so, as you can tell, I'm not usually at a loss for words, but I was stunned. I was stunned by the irresponsible language, the dramatization of absolute fiction. And it's very clear to me that they're pre-positioning the next moves that they want to make. So they're using very strong language to set up a legal framework, in my opinion, or a policing framework to give themselves cover to be absolutely horrendous to us. And so it was really, the language chosen in that meeting was very specific, very specific. She said the words, Diane Dean said the words, the chief repeated the words. This morning I repeated the words. So you're getting 3 people saying the same set of words, but, you know, one is to put on a lot of show to create themselves a legal framework. I said the words to highlight that level of rhetoric and irresponsibility is just going to get someone hurt. She said those things about Canadians. I haven't seen her on a YouTube talking about ISIS like that, but she's talking about Canadians like that. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. And, you know, it hurts my heart to see that kind of language being spoken about Canadians that have the word freedom in their name. It's embarrassing. It's shameful.
We've received a lot of comments on here. A video went out today that said 50% of Ottawa police officers have resigned today. Is
Well,
there any validity through the?
I believe that to be a rumor. I don't believe that to be true. I walked around with a couple of Ottawa police officers today and I saw lots of uniforms, so, you know, the number of uniforms that I saw today, if that was only half, they've got a huge budget. So I don't believe that's true at all.
Someone's asking here about the kneeling at Parliament Hill. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It was beautiful.
Oh, about our epic photo?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a really, really, really wonderful and positive experience. We wanted to kind of help contradict the misconception that our numbers were small and that we are standing together in unity. It was really, really quite an epic experience. There was kids everywhere, you know, people got free hoodies, people sang "O Canada," they chanted freedom. You know, my piece is morale and to help you guys see the more humane picture of what's happening here. But I will tell you that I would strongly encourage people to contact the municipality of Ottawa to help us get some of the things that we need in order to keep the situation humane, like porta potties and things like that. There's a huge outcry for those things and they're being leveraged. You know, the basic essentials of life are being leveraged for police, you know, what they want to have happen. At the end of the day, we are all human beings and we are all Canadians. So if you guys could do your part and put some pressure on Ottawa City Police to help us keep our families that are safe in these trucks with the basic essentials of life. That's what that photo was for, was to show unity and that we are human and that we do have a presence here, you know, and it's an acceptable presence here. We didn't storm Parliament. We took a kneel at Parliament to show that we are here and we are at the mercy of our community and our country to help us get this done here in Ottawa.
Tamara, could you speak on some of the best ways to help people in Ottawa, both financially and with support?
For the truckers, yeah, we have an Adopt a Trucker program. That's adoptatrucker.ca. We've set up the Give, Send, Go, which is an alternative Christian-based platform as opposed to GoFundMe. We still have the e-transfer email set up. So also, I know up at Parliament, I was up there today, there's a great big jug that you can donate cash to right by the stage if you want. And that money can get to them right away. So.
And we're working on a couple of NFTs.
Yes.
They'll be coming out through paralleleconomy.com. And we'll be looking for an auction house to auction off a few sweaters with the names of some of the organizers on those shirts. There will only be one of each size. That will be the only ones that will ever be done. So between 5 and 6 will only be ever released with all these signatures on them.
Someone's asking, what is it, what's the encryption on the hoodies? What does it mean?
It's 10-7, it means out of service.
And what's on the
back? I got it. I got it.
There we go, she's got it. Freedom Convoy 2022.
I'd like to ask another question. This seemed really to be a contest for hearts and minds. A lot of people, even in the Green Party, they have a large percentage of their members that support the truckers. Could you maybe workshop the idea for us of the rumors that we hear about, let's say the RCMP coming in their battle rattle? Can you talk about the hearts and minds and a shift maybe, or what is that playing into their decision for increased force?
I don't really know from a tactical point of view that it makes over, you know, I'm not the on-scene commander developing that plan. However, I would say that, you know, the advice that we got was that they would shut down all telecommunications prior to starting the kettling, to start rounding us up. So we would lose all control of cell phones or our ability to transmit it, and this is why we're asking for people to start actually thinking about coming here. Now, I'm not saying to come here now, but if there's a big giant, you're noticing a severe lack of social media presence from all of the truckers, and there's hundreds of cameras out here, there's hundreds of live streamers every hour on the hour. If there's all of a sudden a complete blackout over Ottawa, You can take that to the bank that the police have started to kettle us. So,
Can you explain what kettle us means?
they're basically going to, march towards us in a column and start boxing us in, and then start affecting immediate arrests. It's something that we saw at the G8G20 summit in 2010. Really disappointing. We all know how that turned out. I mean, the lawsuits are still ongoing to this day, 12 years later. The police did not handle themselves really well. In that particular case, what they did is they kettled people into a corner and then started actually gassing them with tear gas, where they had no escape route, right? I don't believe they're going to do that. I think they've learned their lesson all across North America, that's probably a terrible thing to do. But at the end of the day, that's going to be a tactic that they use, is to start basically boxing us in and start affecting arrests, and then take us off to some sort of processing center. So,
Just before everyone passes out of heat exhaustion, do you have a final synopsis, Tom, and then we'll close the live.
I just think it's really important too to clarify one thing for everybody. We are not occupying Ottawa. We are protesting peacefully in Ottawa. I want to make that very, very clear. We are not occupying. This is not our home. We want to go home. We are here protesting peacefully.
you want a synopsis? I want to sit at a table with all of these people and people that can make a decision. And I want our scientists to sit at tables with their scientists and answer, improve the science that they keep telling us to follow. Okay? Because from our perspective, or from my personal perspective, all I'm seeing is political science, not actual medical science. And I'm tired of seeing that. Okay? I think the Canadian viewers or the Canadian public are smart enough to know the difference between political science and theater and actual medicine. But the mainstream media keeps censoring. They block purposely. You know, it's almost akin to something you would expect to see in North Korea and China, the way they control the media around here. And I'm sorry if that upsets the mainstream media, but you've been disrespecting viewers for 2 years straight, and I'm sure even long before. It would be great if they started actually reporting the news instead of creating it. Okay? We have the scientists that want to sit down publicly and talk about these issues. We want to get the word out and tell the public. Let the public decide. Let the public hear both parties and let the public decide. Okay? Don't coerce them into getting a jab. Let them decide for themselves. You know, and from my limited understanding of the law and informed consent, but I always understood it to be a two-part formula. Okay? I'll give you my consent when you give me the information. And since these long-term safety studies are not yet complete, the clinical trials are not yet complete, how can you give me the information? How can you give me the information for me to take a decision or to consent when I don't know the risks? And when you're concealing the risks, I know they're concealing the risks. They know they're concealing the risks. Let the public know. Let the public know what the risks are. And let them make a free choice, which is their constitutional and charter right to do so. I want to get at a table.
Great. Well, thank you all for your time. We'll close the live there.